Hello. This is day one of doing spreading drills until Leon Lua comments on my video. And I'm going to be doing 5 minutes of over enunciation, 5 minutes of watermelon, 5 minutes of typewriter, 5 minutes of reading backwards, and finally just 5 minutes of pure spreading. Alright, let's start. An agile, angry ape addled up the avenue. Beware the bee buzzed bushily. Beware the bitter brew. Crying came the crone creeping from the cold cafe. Doubting Dan decided daring do's don't save the day. Ernest Edgar eyed everything everywhere. Freda flamboyantly fluttered into the famous flower fair. Gilbert grabbed a golden globe, giving it to Gilda. Harry's hurting heart healed whole his hands, his heart to Hilda. Inside Inez's instinct indicated infamy. Jocelyn enjoyed jumping Joyce joined in Johanna's juleby, keenly keeping Kate off keel. Kurt kicked Katie's kite. Lulu licked on lollipops while Larry lit a light. Myrtle made moist mango muffins, mostly meant for Mina. Naughty Nihas normally narrow near Nina. Fortunately over ovens. Oswald ordered out. Peter, poorly penniless, prepares a peakish pout. Quails quoted a quandary quickly. Choral qualities. Rita reads reciting Robert's rules to raw cookies. Samuel swimming. Siegel searching. Slowly swoops sideways. Two-tone Thomas talks to Tiny Tony toting trays. Uma utters undiscovered. Uphold unity. Vera vocalizes venting verbal vanity. William wonders what went wrong with Witchy's wicked ways. Xander examines xylophones while zeroing x-rays. Yonda's yellow yogurt yields a yummy yearning yen. Zachary's zenith zones on the zodiac and zen. We will operationalize real-world inquiry through experimental-based learning processes. We will deliver top-down terminal and enabling objectives in data-driven schools. We will metacognate integrated mastery learning through the collaborative process. We will visualize visionary units across content areas. We will seize revolutionary Common Core standards within a balanced literacy program. We will revisit diverse Common Core standards in data-driven schools. We will translate your transition assessment-driven next-generation science standards through the use of centers. We will leverage multidisciplinary next-generation science standards in data-driven schools. We will synergize data-driven assessment across cognitive and affective domains. We will evolve multimedia models in data-driven schools. We will utilize innovative transdisciplinary and data-driven drills. We will unleash diverse alignment within the new paradigm. We will generate open-ended curriculum integration through the collaborative process. We will undefine real-world education with synergistic effects. We will expedite overarching communities through the experimental-based learning process. We will innovate multimedia ESLRs through the collaborative process. We will motivate open-ended paradigms across the circular areas. We will empower innovative enrichment outside in the box. We will assess constructivist liaisons across the circular areas. We will transition thematic initiatives within the zone of proximity. We will transform outcome-based decisions making across cognitive and affective domains. Artificial amateurs aren't all at all amazing. Analytically, I assault animate things. Broken barriers bounded by the bomb beat. Buildings are broken. Basically, I'm bombarding. Casually create catastrophes, casualties, canceling cats got their cannabis collapsing. Detonate a dime of thinky daily doing though. Demonstrating Dota data on the down low. Eating the editors with each and every energetic. Epileptic episode elevated, adequate, furious, fabulous, fantastic. Flurries of flunk fell feeding the fanatic. Gift got great global gold done glorious. Getting golly in his name with the glorious. Hit him high, hella high. Historical, hey Holocaust hints him and holler at your homeboy. Limitation idolize, I intimidate. In an instance, I'll rise in an irritate state. Juice on my jams like Jerry Curl's jogging joints. Justly, it's just me writing my journals. Kindly, I'm kindly all kinds of link on karate kick type Brits in my kingdom. Let me live a long life. Lyrically, lessons is learn lame louses, just lose my liverly. My mind makes marvelous moves, massless, moral and more. Many mock more, I'm master. Nephews not knowing I'm nice naturally, knack never lack, make noise nationally, operation opposition off not optional, off of my sight, off of my mind, wide beaming opticals, perfected poem, powerful punchlines, bowling petty powder puffs in my prime, quite quaint quotes, keep quiet, it's quantum, corals ain't got a quarter of what we got, really raw raps rising up rapidly, writing the rushing radioactivity, super scientific sounds, such a search sought, silencing stupefy saps at our soft tails, I'm talented, too tough. Take that, challengers, get up to tune up. A universal, unique, untouched, under the raw, uncut, verb. Vice Lord Vicious Valid, violate vibes that are vain, make him vanish. Wow, very well. That was a wise wordsmith, just weaving up words, weeded up my workshop. Xerox, my X-ray holes extra large. Okay. Okay, it's time for watermelon. X watermelon, high watermelon, letters watermelon, and watermelon, xylophone watermelon, two tones watermelon, yellow watermelon, black watermelon, yak watermelon, mouth watermelon, young watermelon, one watermelon, yaws watermelon, yesterday watermelon, long watermelon, yard sale watermelon, I watermelon, young watermelon, zig watermelon, zag watermelon, zombies watermelon, zooming watermelon, two watermelon, dull watermelon, zenith watermelon, zero watermelon, in watermelon, zen watermelon, thoughts watermelon, overzealous watermelon, rhyme watermelon, zealous watermelon, dull watermelon, US, U watermelon, United watermelon, States watermelon, federal watermelon, government watermelon, sold watermelon, sufficient watermelon, reduced watermelon, is watermelon, direct watermelon, commercial watermelon, sales watermelon, and watermelon, foreign watermelon, military watermelon, sales watermelon, of watermelon, armed watermelon, two watermelon, dull watermelon, republic watermelon, of watermelon, China watermelon, advantage watermelon, one watermelon, C watermelon, C watermelon, P watermelon, lash watermelon, out watermelon, Trump watermelon, will watermelon, sell watermelon, Taiwan watermelon, F watermelon, 16 watermelon, V watermelon, Jets watermelon, H watermelon, A watermelon, big watermelon, policy watermelon, shift watermelon, that watermelon, China watermelon, views watermelon, as watermelon, counterbalancing watermelon, Sputnik watermelon, 19 watermelon, US watermelon, is watermelon, interested watermelon, watermelon, deal watermelon, 2 watermelon, supply watermelon, Taiwan watermelon, F watermelon, 16 watermelon, Jets watermelon, Trump watermelon, urge watermelon, Taiwan watermelon, 2 watermelon, submit watermelon, and watermelon, request watermelon, Washington watermelon, policy watermelon, has watermelon, change watermelon, Huang watermelon, C watermelon, no watermelon, reason watermelon, Congress watermelon, wood watermelon, prevent watermelon, Taiwan's watermelon, request watermelon, as watermelon, oppose watermelon, 2 watermelon, 2011 watermelon, when watermelon, A watermelon, similar watermelon, request watermelon, was watermelon, rejected watermelon, do watermelon, 2 watermelon, unwillingness watermelon, 2 watermelon, provoke watermelon, China watermelon, the watermelon, current watermelon, Congress watermelon, as watermelon, A watermelon, strong watermelon, consensus watermelon, in watermelon, favor watermelon, of watermelon, countering watermelon, China watermelon, the watermelon, deal watermelon, could watermelon, be watermelon, A watermelon, big watermelon, policy watermelon, shift watermelon, design watermelon, 2 watermelon, counterbalance watermelon, the watermelon, of watermelon, does watermelon, advance watermelon, jets watermelon, will watermelon, blur watermelon, the watermelon, defensive watermelon, offensive watermelon, gray watermelon, line watermelon, which watermelon breaks watermelon, strategic watermelon, ambiguity watermelon, makes watermelon, other watermelon, threats watermelon, credible watermelon, and watermelon, causes watermelon, ally watermelon, balancing watermelon, against watermelon, China watermelon, together watermelon, that watermelon, humiliates watermelon, Z watermelon, and watermelon, causes watermelon, C watermelon, C watermelon, P watermelon, lash watermelon, out watermelon, no watermelon, capabilities watermelon, decide watermelon, jets watermelon, arm watermelon, actually watermelon, military watermelon, significant watermelon, 2 watermelon, Lee watermelon, 19 watermelon, new watermelon, plays watermelon, will not watermelon, not watermelon, alter watermelon, military watermelon, balance watermelon, China watermelon, Taiwan watermelon, no watermelon, dissuade watermelon, provocations watermelon, that watermelon, is watermelon, not watermelon, Beijing's watermelon, primary watermelon, concern watermelon, most watermelon, important watermelon, is watermelon, how watermelon, the watermelon, you watermelon, s watermelon, will watermelon, respond watermelon, every watermelon, clue watermelon, is watermelon, vital watermelon, Washington watermelon, is watermelon, obligated watermelon, 2 watermelon, cell watermelon, arms watermelon, of watermelon, watermelon, defensive watermelon, character watermelon, 2 watermelon, Taipei watermelon, sins watermelon, Clinton watermelon, administration watermelon, deny watermelon, new watermelon, Clinton watermelon, plans, fighter watermelon, plains watermelon, the watermelon, gray watermelon, lime watermelon, zai watermelon, let watermelon, the watermelon, cat watermelon, out watermelon, of watermelon, the watermelon, bag watermelon, wet watermelon, she watermelon, said watermelon, feathers watermelon, wood watermelon, show watermelon, US watermelon, commitments watermelon, the watermelon, you watermelon, as watermelon, delivery, deliberately watermelon, bark watermelon, on watermelon, strategic watermelon, ambiguity watermelon, the watermelon, bomber watermelon, decision watermelon, 2 watermelon, only watermelon, offer watermelon, agent watermelon, F watermelon, 16 watermelon, watermelon A, watermelon slash, watermelon B, watermelon plans, watermelon suggests D, watermelon D, watermelon escalating, watermelon tension, watermelon in, watermelon contrast, watermelon Trump, watermelon has, watermelon shown, watermelon unprecedented, watermelon willingness, watermelon 2, watermelon escalate, watermelon tension, watermelon pens, watermelon and, watermelon the, watermelon N, watermelon S, watermelon pull, watermelon no, watermelon punches, watermelon if, watermelon the, watermelon sale, watermelon goes, watermelon through, watermelon it, watermelon is, watermelon evidence, watermelon Washington, watermelon is, watermelon it, this, watermelon accepting of, watermelon mainland, watermelon demands, watermelon A, watermelon sale, watermelon wood, watermelon B, watermelon indication, watermelon Taiwanese, watermelon independence, watermelon is, watermelon accepting, watermelon of, watermelon mainland, watermelon critical, watermelon that, watermelon wood, watermelon B, watermelon A, watermelon significant, watermelon blow, watermelon 2, watermelon G, watermelon imply, watermelon reunification, watermelon was, watermelon historic, watermelon shell, watermelon of, watermelon F, watermelon 16, watermelon V, watermelon S, watermelon G, watermelon imply, watermelon, oh wait, makes, watermelon that, watermelon less, watermelon, alright, that's time. Less likely. I'm just gonna, okay, I'm just gonna take like a 2 minute break or something. Actually, probably less. I'll just take a little bit of a break and continue with the typewriter drill, which is basically reading out every. It's like the watermelon drill, except that I'm spelling out each word and putting saying space in between them. So yeah. A space, M space, E space, R space, I space, C space, A space, N space, S space, U space, P space, O space, R space, C space, W space, I space, L space, L space, I space, N space, L space, M, F space, L space, U space, E space, N space, C space, E space, O space, C space, H space, E space, R space, N space, A space, C space, I space, O space, N space, S space, J space, A space, P space, A space, N space, H space, A space, S space, E space, M space, E space, R space, G space, E space, Z space, T space, H space, E space, U space, S space, wait, E space, B space, E space, M space, T space, H space, E space, N space, A space, B space, E space, is, I space, S space, D space, E space, P space, N space, D space, E space, N space, T space, O space, N space, T space, H space, E space, U space, S space, I space, F space, W space, A space, S space, H space, I space, N space, T space, T space, O space, N space, I space, S space, M space, O space, V space, I space, N space, G space, T space, O space, R space, O space, B space, U space, S space, C space, R space, E space, L space, A space, T space, I space, O space, N space, S space, J space, A space, P space, A space, N A space, U space, T S space, T space, R space, A space, L space, I space, A space, N space, D space, O space, T space, H space, E space, R space, S space, W space, I space, L space, F space, O space, L space, O space, W space, X space, I space, S space, A space, L space, R space, E space, A space, Z space, Y space, U space, N space, D space, E space, R space, I space, N space, T space, E space, R space, N space, A space, L space, P space, R space, E space, S space, E space, U space, R space, F space, R space, O space, M space, T space, H space, E space, B space, E space, L space, T space, A space, N space, D space, R space, O space, A space, I space, N space, I space, T space, I space, A space, T space, I space, V space, A space, E space, A space, N space, D space, M space, A space, D space, E space, I space, N space, C space, H space, I space, N space, A space, C space, H space, I space, N space, A space, S space, L space, O space, S space, C space, G space, O space, D space, W space, I space, L space, O space, V space, E space, R space, A space, C space, T space, I space, O space, N space, S space, I space, N space, D space, H space, E space, A space, N space, D space, S space, C space, S space, A space, N space, D space I space N space D space I space A I space T space I space S space I space N space E space C space O space N space O space M space I space W space A space R space um, X space, I space, T space, O space, K space, G space, R space, E space, H space, T space, R space, I space, S space, K space, I space, N space, A space, B space, A space, N space, D space, O space, N space, I space, N space, G space, D H space, I space, P space, L space, O space, M space, A space, C space, Y space, P space, R space, E space, V space, I space, O space, U space, S space, L space, A space, D space, M space, I space, R space, E D space, D space, X space, I space, N space, O space, C space, T 不是。C space, R space, I space, T space, I space, C space, I space, C space, E space, D space, D space, O space, M space, E space, S space, T space, I space, C space, A space, L space, L space, Y space, L space, E space, I space, T space, I space, M space, A space, C space, Y space, O space, F space, T Y space, H space, E space, C space, O space, M space, U space, M space, I space, E, S space, P space, P space, A space, R space, T space, Y space, W space, O space, U space, L space, D space, N space, O space, T space, S space, U space, R space, V space, I space, V space, E space, T space, H space, E space, L space, O space, S space, S space, O space, T, F space, T space, A space, I space, W space, A space, N space, F, I space, F space, T space, H space, T, E space, U space, S space, G space, O space, E space, S space, A space, H space, E space, H space, D space, W space, I space, T space, space, H space, T space, A space, E space, S space, A space, L space, E space, P space, R space, E space, S space, U space, R space, E space. All right. I think backwards is next. I'll just skip to next card. Now I'll just like go backwards, I guess. Constraint fewer place integration linkages change China as not its behavior past intervention unban liberal bin never has China conflict to pro be well China U.S. a miscalculation of risk raising repercussions international generate consequences of failure of catastrophic risk brittleness G's figure redemption like Putin to rise give collapse interest military trouble investigate interest military conflict which not did leadership if even Vietnam and Philippines as India Taiwan include conflict of areas greatness of restoration from stems legitimacy tough appear to want G eventualism with distract party the conflict global causes out lash Z. Elections upcoming Taiwan's and interference handed heavy more income could retaliation 92 cents jet fighter of still U.S. first the bloc could Congress unlikely is while ambiguous was war actual via come might retaliation whether completed is sailed the if retaliate definitely will Beijing warn party communist the warning raising hair latest the in straining airlines red Beijing's crossing 16's F new reunification for calling G since Taiwan over rhetoric racketing bin as Beijing. Interference election Taiwanese via retaliation Chinese causes of just advance of sale the legitimacy PCC of independent of 19 Vygotsky. Order Global New A Want Day beginning the only is Taiwan propaganda coordinate and media Taiwanese upra have interest Beijing pro unification of beginning the point tipping the B could that TMK the returning in succeeds China if collection style Kong B will that after election meaningful last the B my election years next Zai ousting on focus is Beijing 19 Rohin interference is practiced to China allowing NTMK in government sham A establishing by the global crisis interfere election increased. Admire and envy being America dumb, powerful, more weapon no is theirs, else no one no is their regime's authoritarian by exacerbated and generated are poverty, famine, war, crisis, every for remedy only the is democracy quit. Cannot ask you, but setbacks B will their value share on base strategy by B only can Putin tactically only operate can a politician outlast institution strong stability of decades created consistently home at begins leadership American years 10 for decline index freedom the retreated U.S. Striding our day uh, back turn to one Russia and blackmail nuclear Korea. Party's extremist terror. Real is the existential the 17 Kasparov. Trump solve institution results positive produce can it fails modeling democratic if even impact every causes democracy liberal of collapse. Arms supplying stop Washington demanded Beijing relations straight cross sabotage seriously and ties military bilateral poison China of security and sovereignty damage mainland of part inalienable and as island regards it stability jeopardized and relations her seriously act sell its with principle China won the violating of Washington accused Beijing 19 Chun relations China U.S. crushes that principle China won the of violation as sales arms China views China relations China U as to advantage. Bigger something with Beijing challenge to upbuilding could be could they means year this deal smaller the sanctions after soon so coming Beijing furious timing buzz straight the cross balance power the to a difference much make not will which parts spare and maintenance solves the is the old years this cooperate to China expect can't it control disease infectious and laundering money anti proliferation non counterterrorism in work to has U.S. the before the countermeasures take to position better now confident more much retaliate too likely was Beijing said analysts. Okay. Just 10 minutes of pure 5 minutes of pure spreading. There's gonna be all right. I'll just start with discard and see where I get to. Deals don't shape regional security, but are symbolic of the threat and corruption of terror, pollution, disease. China is in 18. Production already starting we were U.S. and million canceled death to avoid serious damage to cooperation in different areas. No. Analysts that Beijing would like to retaliate much more confident now is better than countermeasure before the U.S. would work out in countermeasure non-proliferation, anti-money laundering, and facilities. We can let China to cooperate. This usually involves maintenance and spare parts will now make a difference of power balance with trade, but timing improved after sanctions. That's why this year's I'm capable of challenge Beijing with something bigger. Terrorism causes extinction. Row 17. The country may be attacked lash on military with nuclear threshold cross. Conflicts that could escalate to nuclear use. Major powers may feel compelled to engage in prevent war rules of submarine one and ban overnight confidence in industrial institution road. Probably because of multiple scenarios for nuclear war. 2016. Nuclear war in Asia might be used usually via large scale defense president the danger may be backfiring multiple nuclear order when skirmish occur on multiple power conflicts may impede. There is a danger that action will cross over land. There's caliber war risks the country will develop say nuclear powers could be drawn into smaller conflict chain growing in danger and more severe when nuclear escalation and present the more interference of nuclear trigger most of the nukes will be used multi-power nuclear crisis now with precedent. Since the constitution of the position will create anti-genetic movements out of my exogenous shocks. Marlins 15. History happened when it fails the power kinds of heavy total too significantly the high impact and will greater probability than assumed. Modern terms were anti-human population. The affection to respect the potential for all systems to serve at bringing civilizing criminals will come on rubble extinction when it's possible. Independent future arms over the Euro Trump Z trade talks with otherwise enforceable trade agreement. This time it's different. Will be the first deal of just in 1992. Represent 19. Washington knows how to pay for a person for a way to take off the opposite of China and Russia said anything Taiwan is a new sticking point. Taiwan request is uncle risk for hungering U.S. China talk. To fulfill the war jeopardize relations just like trade talks are reached the conclusion. We see that trade war ended won't love it. Escalating crisis Taiwan over the assuming January term war is just part of it. Sales of the uncle the spotlight. And he saw before Trader will held him on the block for a G, one of the Communist Party. And he saw for Taiwan with the Trader was him as a breach of trust about if Taiwan's looking for enforceable trade action only to get this principles of the enforceable agreement. Taiwan. Taiwan could become a greater variable in the Trump dynasty ever was. Hurdles remain within enforceable deal can get it done prevent additional outcomes and threats and IP theft. U.S. and China agreed to enforcement mechanisms and ensures Beijing follows through if the deal is ever enforcement has been one of its points will remain much of the done before agreement in order of the reach. Tension over ease on China's unfair trade policy also extra threats the U.S. economy failure to prevent IP. So over months threatening Chinese practices the nation were very, very close. Economic that causes nuclear war, loose nukes, counterbalancing regional stability, map 13. Economic consideration, economic problem, into food conflict, economic stability will prevent new challenges for national security, and two states will estimate option for prevailing against stronger states, in order to make sure goals through without violence and make economic but challenge Americans lose the WMD could be put to security, for influence WMD for the markets of private terrorism operations to weaken America's status. Past also completed this event to emphasize our unique shift. Japan times 19. To emphasize show the president had prevented also for just emphasis our world war event. No all causes. Also, are most serious issues in relations. The 19. Taiwan countries about Chinese sovereignty and Taiwan integration. Most important symptoms between China and U.S. Relations storms of the Taiwan country are serious law and international and basic work. Article 1 to China principle 3. Companies China sales excellent and firm. The current administration has paid the Taiwan country conditions. This is a serious thing in relation with jeopardized peace, which could record China community and national bond interference with realizing with strong leadership of the Chinese people. China never no longer reckless will try to have national division on the treaty itself. But it was imposed on a part of undergrounding a Bujar assembly locker of a 1 AC to have with a force of the truth and assumption of the paradigm of discord or something with signals on both going to really as parallels of the country and futile of the classroom before version of as reality coming into 2017. Yokoja National Cells burning paragraph Bujar the list simulacrum denote the British society narrative with socialism truth and totality clauses and truly on the table battle use social conversion post-structural paradox pyramid theme of Turina the mythical we choose between the social paradigm of discourse and simulation the rational deter of the personal significant form. The purpose of the socialist includes the social identity of opposite value given that there is analysis of social paradigms was invalid of the subject concept of socialism includes the reality as a parallel. We have to choose between the intellectual paradigm of reality and the concept of obscurity. Many cases were suffering an intellectual paradigm of this one may be revealed class and a parallel which is rotating however is not much of a class or the failure of true rather than collapsing and futility of the class we have to choose between the improvement of this post-semiotic paradigm expression and dialogue and mythicalism the subject improving a bourgeois simulacrum contains reality as a reality. Alright, that's all for today. I'll be doing this, I guess, every day until Leon Lee comments. See ya.